welcome back to my channel, my beautiful monarch butterflies, or should I say, my beautiful crafty princesses. I hope that all of y'all are having a lovely, lovely day. Alright you guys, today is an exciting day. We get to show what we made for our swap collab partners. But before we get into that, I want to welcome you guys back to the hashtag Princess Royal Ball Journal Swap Collaboration, which is hosted by me, yours truly, Baby's Closet Creations, and my beautiful crafty sis, Kara, over at Paper Confessions. I want to thank Kara so very much for helping me host this wonderful collab. As soon as we thought it up, we were really excited to launch it, and it's finally come to fruition. I also want to thank all the participants because without them this would not have been possible. So I do want to give a shout out to all the wonderful princesses that joined in on the ball. So we have, first up, we have our first group, Paper Confessions, Kara, Mia, and Kathy over at Kathy's Favorite Things. Next up, our second group, we have Perfectly Imperfect Junk Journals, Gina, and we have Jennifer paired up with her at Scrapbooks and Memories. And then our third group, we have Rosie's Creative Wings. Hello, Rosie. And then we have Tanya over at Side Gig Crafts. I think I still said it wrong. Side Gig Crafts. There we go. And then I have my beautiful crafty Thea. She's my swap partner, which I have very lovingly created this journal for, MJ Reyes. Okay, so you can see here that I created a beautiful journal out of a little golden book. So I knew that it would be a challenge for maybe all of us to have found like a little golden book that correlated to the princesses that we did in fact want. But I gave us 3 different options just in case if we didn't find our first option, we could have picked our second princess or, you know. So here we have a doily closure, and this is a beautiful doily that was given to me in some Happy Mail. And so you can see here, this is the back, and I quite like that on the bottom here, it has the name of the little golden book, Snow White. And then I attached this little flower here with some E6000. And then I attached this beautiful yellow fabric, which I thought reminded me so much of Snow White's gorgeous dress. You can see like the yellows go together. They pair so nicely. Alright, so let's go ahead and open her on up and show you guys inside. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the closure here. You can see how it looks. So I just did a little bit of stitching. You can see that there. It's so cute. But yeah, it matches so gorgeous with her dress. Let's imagine that it is her dress, a piece of her dress. So here on the cover, you can see that I attached this beautiful trim of gorgeous little flowers there. And you know, when creating this, I was like, you know, I want MJ to audibly gasp when she opens it. I wanted to create something that she would love and something that still had like my signature BB style. She is a 3 signature spine, and you can see all these trims in the back. So these are like vintage fabrics. Not this one, but yeah, for the most part these are vintage fabrics. And then we have these beautiful trims that are vintage as well. They're so hard to come by. You rarely find them in thrift shops. I feel like this is such a German type style looking trim. Almost reminds me of Snow White's little sleeves and stuff. This one is pretty modern, this one right here. But anyways, I feel like I'm going to be chatting a lot because I have so much love that I poured into this journal. So you can see here we put some beautiful golden corners, and then once you open up the book, I kind of put these too close to the spine, but you can see that it's hinged. So I put hinges on here. I wanted to try something different. I wanted my journal to have a statement piece that when she would open it, it would be like ta-da, like an introduction to the beautiful golden book. So here again we have another vintage trim with some beautiful delicate laces up here, and then this is an embroidered little doily, and it flips up like this. So if she wanted to, she could put something here. This back here is a vintage pillowcase, and I really love the beautiful flowers that are featured on this fabric, but it is so stunning. I love this pillowcase. And then I did, of course, my iconic stitching. So when you open up the journal, you are greeted by this beautiful little like scrapbooking paper. And you know how she makes gooseberry pie? I know that these aren't gooseberries, but they're like little strawberries, and I just thought it would fit the theme, especially with this vintage fabric here in the back, or in the bottom for the pocket. Here you can see her beautiful face surrounded by all the dwarfs, and then I attached this gorgeous trim. And then here I did a little envelope pocket. I like to include these in most of my journals, right? And then I included some gorgeous little goodies in there for her. And as I am showing you guys through the journal, I also want to say that I did use some printables. I didn't want to go too hard on printables because I just wanted to be able to create out of my own head. Because you know, printables do in fact make creating, I think, a little bit easier. Personally, that's just me. And I just wanted to dig into my creative mojo. So when we flip the page, you can see she's got a beautiful little bird, and I wanted to include birds in here too as well, because and flowers. So here I just included a little bit of some printables. This is from Amity Bloom. And then here, this is a fabric pocket, and I backed it up with some paper, and this is a Project Life card that says "Once Upon a Time" with a beautiful crown. Oh, and then here's the back again with the crown. This says "My Garden," because as you know, like, she's not really in the garden, she's more or less like in a field. And so I just thought it kind of matched up with the little birds and her basket because she's picking out flowers, right? And then here I included a beautiful heart charm. And then I did a little ruffle with the same exact fabric that we used for our tie closure. This says "The Wishing Well," and I think you guys are pretty familiarized with Snow White when she's at the wishing well and she's singing with the birds and stuff. And you can see the cute little wishing well there at the bottom. Here we have a sweet little tab with some pink in it, and I thought it paired really nicely with the reddish pinkish hues there, fuchsia I guess. And then here you could see in the background that I went in with some vintage music pages, and then I embossed some of this paper cardstock, and I think it looks very beautiful. This says "Charming Project Life card," and then she could do some journaling on the back if she so chooses. And then this is just more or less like a week and month to do paper, and I think it's just kind of cool to look back on when you're flipping through the journal to see what you were doing then and have a chance to look back at what all you were up to. Alright, next up we have this gorgeous little tab card that I created. There's nothing on the back, but here's some ledger paper so she can definitely do some journaling there if she so chooses. And this tucks into here, and this also is a little tiny tuck spot, so if she wanted to put in a itty bitty little tag, she can. On this side we have, actually she gave these to me, I very much remember, and I was like, look at that, it's circled back around to her. And then you can definitely flip this out, and this has a little pocket here as well. She could do some journaling at the bottom. Here's another pocket, and I think the green hues just go together so very nicely. We have a journaling card here with a little bit of woodland creatures, and it says "Lost in Wonder." So you can see a little bit of collaging there that I'd made. And then here we have some stationery, and it says "When I count my blessings, I always think of you." And then I did a little fabric tab here. This here is a little pocket, and I really like the fabric. You can see through it, so you can still visually see like the paper here in the background. And this is actually calendar paper. I had a calendar that I bought last year, and I really liked the pictures or the patterns on it, so that's what you see there. It is very thick paper. Alright, so here we have again more ledger paper, and a cute little tag that I made out of like drawer liners, and then I added a little grommet, and this says beautiful. This is a rub-on, and the sentiments, I do believe that they either came from Rosie's Creative Wings and or from Pinterest. But yeah, so it just opens up like this, and then on the background too, I forget who put out this printable. I've had it for a little bit and I just don't recall who it's from. And I try to look, but I can't remember. And then I added some little sari silk at the top there. Moving right along, again, some vintage trim. This here is a pocket. And then you could see her stepmom here at the Queen. She says, was cruel and vain. She hated anyone whose beauty rivaled her own, and she watched her stepdaughter with angry, jealous eyes. She needs to quit being a hater. And then so here she is talking with her magic mirror because she's delusional. And then here we have a little flip out. How cute is this? And then I incorporated a little vellum sheet and a sweet little tag. Journaling spaces, and it says love is patient, love is kind, because of course I think it just correlates nicely with the Snow White storyline. So here she is doing her dishes regardless of the copious amounts of work she's having to do. And even in rags and stuff, she still looks beautiful. And then this is a very soft, delicate little doily that was gifted to me by my friend Kara, my crafty sis. And it says, what are the obstacles keeping love and positivity out of your life? Can you dissolve them? And I felt like it just correlated really nicely with Snow White, that despite of everything that she's going through, she's remaining positive. And then here I did a little rub-on sticker. But you can see how it's a little bit distressed, but it's still pretty, you know? Like her. Alright, so here we have some more journaling spaces. It is a very faint image with pink hues in it, but it's still so pretty. So here we have another little paper bag pocket, and it says follow your heart, and then another little rub-on sticker, and then I did a little reinforcer there. Moving right along, of course reds, because I look at her dress and I see blues, yellows, and reds, and so I kind of wanted to work within that palette of colors. And then here we have a Project Life card. It says bloom, oh my gosh, bloom and grow forever. And then I have this beautiful tulip card. There we go. Ooh, I should have done a 7, you know, for the 7 dwarfs. That would have been creative, but I didn't. Okay, so there's a little corner tuck there, and I think that just flowers pair up nicely. And then here is just some music pages. This is a gorgeous printable from the talented Susan over at I Totally Love It. And then again we have some vintage trims here. You can kind of see how it's patinaed in time. Beautiful, beautiful little pink, soft pink trim, and it says dream. And then I think this is funny, a little inside joke like with myself. And it says, life is not easy for any of us, but what of that? We must have perseverance and above all confidence in ourselves. And is she confident? No, because she's a hater and she doesn't like Snow White. And so I think she's lacking. She's lacking confidence in herself. I put that in there because she's being ugly. All right. And then so here she sends, you know, for this guy to one of her assistants to go into the forest and, you know, unalive Snow White. Moving right along, we have some journaling spaces here. And then this says, the next day Snow White never suspected that she was in danger, and she went off with the huntsman. Oh, I said assistant. He's a huntsman. Duh. Moving right along, she runs into the forest, right? And then you see all these little scary trees and stuff. And I wanted to bring a little bit of light back into like this page a little bit, balance out the darkness. And so here I put like little mushrooms because of course she's in a forest. So I made a little tag with some sari silk. And then here is a little pocket with a butterfly. So you can imagine these are flowers and stuff that she sees within the forest. And then this says, beauty of the roses. And MJ actually had gifted me this, and I was like, look at that. It just matches perfectly. And again, I sealed the pocket with some of my iconic stitching. Alright, so here we have a little corner pocket, and it says, be happy with a project life card. This is a very delicate die cut. This is when I was like first learning to die cut. And then I attached this beautiful little flower there with the brad. And then again, you can see that beautiful calendar paper. Again, this is from Susan. I totally love it. Up on her Ko-Fi. Moving right along, here we have a 1930s ledger paper, and I made a little tag out of it. We have another printable. And again, I think this might have been from Susan over at I Totally Love It. This is a very thick, like, matching card. And I just thought it reminded me of a tree you would see in the forest. But it's called European Mountain Ash. I feel like I remember MJ having shared a story with me of when she was a child that her grandmother designated colors to them and MJ's a twin, by the way. So I thought that was really, really cute that she shared that with me and had mentioned that her grandma designated certain colors to them. And I think she had mentioned that at first she wasn't very fond of the color that was given to her, and I do believe that she said it was yellow. If I'm wrong, MJ, please correct me. And so when I see yellow too, it reminds me of MJ. And then I attached some little fabric here. And then here again, this is Amity Bloom printable, and I attached a little tab. Here we have a little tag that I did some collaging on, and it says Wings of Destiny, and then I included a little envelope here, and it has speckles on it, and I don't know if the camera's showing through, but we have some little birds here. It's very pretty. This says a personal note, so she can do some journaling there if she wants. She can do some journaling here if she wants to, or incorporate a little flip out with the little envelope that I included, so if she wants to. She can glue that down, and then voila, she has a little flip out, and she can tuck in some goodies. It says in every heart, and again you can see kind of like a farm and a little field there. It's super pretty. And then it says garden in my heart. And then here she can do some journaling as well, incorporate some pictures if she wants to. Here I had a little envelope, and there's another little butterfly, and you can see some very faint foliage here on the envelope. I hope it's showing through. And then this I just fussy cut from the Amity Bloom Images printables. She can journal in the back if she wants to. And then here she comes up on the cottage, and you can see all the little woodland creatures showing her the way to the cottage. So here we have a vintage postcard. I ended up coming up on someone's collection at a thrift shop full of postcards, and I almost imagined that this is her view of the kitchen in the little cottage. Like if she was actually there, and you can see a ladle, which reminds me of like when she starts cooking them a meal, you know? It's so cute. I was like, oh my gosh, that little postcard is perfect. And then here you can see that she's knocking on the cottage door. And this is a pocket, or an envelope, I should say. This is Rosie's digital, and it is so stunning. I think it's perfect. And so here we have the word friendship in the background, and then a beautiful flower to match with these flowers as well, because a friendship is about to bloom. And then so here I made another little tag, and it says curiosity, because as they're in there in the cottage, it's just full of curiosity of what they're going to encounter. And then on the back again, Rosie's digital kit is featured, and it's just faint enough that she could do some journaling here if she wants. Oh, and this is a pocket here. Oh, tuck spot, and pocket. And then here, I'm gonna get y'all close up there. You can see this tab here. It's embossed. It's textured. It's so pretty. And then on this side, we have this beautiful, I love these little distressed flowers. And then here I included a beautiful little charm with a faux pearl, and it's got a little bow. It is so cute. And then this says a prayer of rejoicing. If y'all noticed in the cartoon, you can see that she does a little prayer. And so I was like, she prays. She's a prayer, you know? She loves to pray. And you can see some lace here again. And then I made this little flower made out of paper flowers, and then a tab. Or, what is it? Here, this is another postcard. But I wanted it to look like her castle, her palace. And this actually is a picture that was taken in Germany, which is where Snow White's story takes place, in Germany. But yeah, so this is a little pocket so she can tuck something in there if she wants to. So here again we went in with some vintage trim. Very, very pretty trim. You can see those beautiful faint blue flowers. And then this says home sweet home, because I feel like she did feel at home with the 7 dwarfs. And then there's some flowers that she might have picked for their little cottage, and her setting the table. So beautiful. So whenever they come back home, they're greeted with a beautiful clean house. Again, I did another little cluster with a little flower, little paper flower, and a brad. Pretty. So this is the second signature. I forgot to mention that we had already finished with the first signature. So yeah, we're on the second signature. It says, my prayer for the helpless and the hopeless. No good work is done anywhere without aid from the Father of lights. And that's from C.S. Lewis. So here we have a beautiful belly band, and you can kind of see that I took scraps and just kind of more or less collage, and then I added this little trim which went nicely with like the pinks on the other page. This comes from Paper Terrace from Jessica. She had actually put this out a couple months back, and it just says Disneyland 2025. She can change the date if she wants to, or put a sentiment there. And it says my happy place, but it says magical memories, and I just thought it went beautiful with this journal. And you can find this up on Jessica's Patreon, I think, if it's still available. Alright, and so here this is a pocket. Alright, so here the dwarfs are hard at work. They don't even know that their house is being cleaned up or nothing. They're not aware of any of that. They're just singing and happy. Dopey is my youngest son's, Paul's, favorite little dwarf. Gorgeous digital kit in the background there. Rosie's creative wings. Oh no, I bent it. Darn. Okay, so this is from Karatootie on YouTube, and this was another free digital. Alright, so here this is a pocket, and this is some eyelet lace. It's so pretty, and I'm so sad that I bent it, but this is some vintage wallpaper, and it almost looks like it was hand painted, doesn't it? Alright, so moving right along, now we're on the third and last signature. So again, you can see her here cleaning their little cottage with the help of the woodland creatures. How sweet of her, right? And she's just hoping that they're gonna let her stay. She don't even know if they're gonna let her stay or not, which is crazy to me. She's just doing it out of the kindness of her heart. And then I went in with some beautiful, beautiful washi tapes. I forgot to mention that you can get these from Ivy. I'll be linking them down below too if you want to check them out. So I sprinkled their washi tapes throughout the journal, and I forgot to mention that, but look at those gorgeous delicate flowers on the washi tape. They're so beautiful. And then I added this little charm, this little heart charm again with the reds. They pair nicely with her red bow and her little sleeves there. Next up, now the dwarfs are coming back home from being hard at work and just singing a sweet little happy tune. This is a pocket belly band. And then I put music page here because they're singing and stuff, so I was like, yeah, that matches nice. And then here you can see, since she's cleaning for them and washing their clothes and cleaning their house, you know how she's near like a little lake? It just reminded me of the lake where she's got the woodland creatures helping her wash their clothes and things like that. So I thought that was really, really sweet. And then I imagine that this is the forest. This is from one of the book pages that I had, one of the children's book pages that I had here around in my collection. And then this page here, the scrapbook page, is textured. I don't know if it's showing through or not. Years ago, MJ had gifted me a book, and it had vellum stuff, like vellum papers that you could make for card making. And so I was like, oh my gosh, that's so pretty. I could imagine a little hummingbird in the forest. How pretty is that? And then here, a little sentiment, imagine. Again, I think this either is from Rosie over at Rosie's Creative Wings and or from Pinterest. So I made a little pocket, and then this was a digital kit from Angela over at the Traveling Crafter, and so I can just imagine that she's out looking for little things in their garden and picking out some sage to make them a supper. And then here we have a little card. Again, this is Karatoti printable with a rub-on transfer, and then she can do a date there and journal a little bit. And then on the back, I just added a little sweet, fun envelope. I feel like I'm taking so long, but I'm sharing every detail that I possibly can share so that she knows how much love I put into this. On this other side, I made a large journaling card of the dwarfs. This here's a pocket, so if she wants to, she can tuck something in there. And yeah, them singing their happy tunes. You can see again some music paper in the back. On the back, you can see I have a pocket, and then I just used a scalloped edge punch to make that. Alright, so here, this is one of my favorite little pockets that I made in this journal. You can see here there is some embroidery. I got this at a thrift shop, and this was something that someone hand embroidered, and you can see how it's got this little adorable, almost crocheted looking edging to it. See here, again, we have a vintage postcard. This is not from Germany, but it is a picture that was taken in Great Britain, but I could imagine that's what the outside of the cottage looked like. Look at all those flowers and stuff. Isn't that gorgeous? So next up, again, we have Susan's digital kit from I Totally Love It. It's completely free up on her Ko-Fi. And then I had been gifted this little sticker of happy, and so I put it on a Project Little Life card, and I had kept it for a good while, and I kept forgetting that I had it, and I was like, it's gonna go in MJ's journal. Moving right along, here we have a vintage doily. And check this out, you guys. It's also got this beautiful embroidery pattern on it. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I folded it so that it became into a pocket. Again, that's like one of my favorite pages that I made. I included some goodies in here, a huge journaling card, and then again the IB washi tape. Look how beautiful it is. I love it. Here's another piece of the washi tape. Alright, so here I just did a little collaging on some Karatoti free printable. And then here we have, I guess like a little page that has bugs on it. And I thought it was so pretty because you obviously are going to see bugs in the forest. Moving right along, I put a little paper doily there. And then here we have a paint swatch with some vintage music page. Look at that blue. We have a little paint swatch here, livable green it says. And then this is some vintage stationery. And then again you can see the calendar page that remnant that I used there. It says Chase Dreams. This is textured scrapbooking page. Look at that. So beautiful. Alright, so here we have a recipe card, of course, because she's cooking, and I thought of all things cooking for this journal. And then this, she can do some journaling on there, but look how cute those little hearts are. Fun little tab there. And then look at her beautiful, well, it's not hers, but it is a like patched, a little patched comforter. So pretty. And I thought it went really nicely with this paper sunflower doily. Some ledger paper journaling spaces. You know, they're all curious about who she is and what she's doing there. And then here they obviously are getting to know her a little bit better, and now they're dancing and they love her. They just fall in love with her because she's just so very sweet. This is some tea dye paper. Moving right along, this is a little tuck spot up here with a little tag, and it's just so pretty with that, with those flowers. This again is from Susan, I Totally Love It printable, and then I lined it in the back with some tea dye paper. Here we have a beautiful belly band. Again, I put a envelope there, very fitting. And then this, I felt like it fit so perfectly in that frame, but I didn't want to glue it down just in case she wants to use it. I did a little tuck spot with a butterfly or a moth, almost looks like a moth. And this again is vintage paper from the 1930s. And then I included, this is not a sticker, and I really wasn't quite sure how to use it, but it embellished the page so nicely. And then this is from Angela over at the Traveling Crafter. 1930s ledger, some scrapbooking page and journaling spaces. And then here, again, I went in with like the calendar page, but again, I went in with some sari silk. And then I did a little collage there, because how sweet is that? So, you know how they're getting along now and they're all living together and Snow White cooks for them? I can picture Dopey helping her out in the kitchen and making some delicious butter dips. I found this image up on Pinterest and I decided to print it out because I thought it was so cute, but it's a genuine recipe on Dopey's butter dips. And then I added a fun little tab there. And then on the back, I went in with Rosie's Creative Wings digital kit. How sweet is that, you guys? Okay, so here we have some vintage wallpaper. This was gifted to me by my sweet friend Dale over at Not Too Shabby Chic. And I went in using a stamp to make this faux postcard. And then I made this little collage tag for MJ. Moving right along, I incorporated some sweet little ephemera there. Next up we have some journaling spaces, a fun little tab. This is an envelope. She can tuck some goodies or pictures in there if she so chooses. Here we have a little recipe card with a chicken. It's vintage. And then this beautiful plain card with a wonderful flower on it. Okay. On the other side, we have this beautiful die cut, and I thought it went really good with the washi tape here. Again, from IB, I reinforced the pages with some washi tape. Again, the vintage wallpaper, and then I stuffed some goodies in here. Again, since she loves to bake and cook and stuff like that. All right, here is some, I guess you could call it a closet liner too, or drawer liners. And I just made a little tag out of that. See, she could journal here, some little journaling spaces. And then I did a time card collage here. You can see I ended up making a huge ruffle here, and it's got butterflies and turnips and little garden things. Like this is a watering can for your garden. And again, I just picture that, you know, they have a sweet little garden there at the cottage. This is a little flip up. Here we have a tuck spot. She can do some journaling there if she wants to. This is a die cut. And again, she gave me this a while back, and here it is coming back to her. It's so pretty. And then here I made a little, this was supposed to be initially like a pocket, but I messed up, and so I was like, you know what, that still would look cute as a tag. And this pocket comes from Anna over at Pink Monarch Print. And then here is another little printable from Rosie's Creative Wings, and look at those beautiful flowers. And then I did a little scalloped edge with wrapping paper. But when we open it up, this is Snow White's gooseberry pie recipe. And I didn't think that gooseberries were an actual thing, but it's a real thing. This is what made me discover that it was a real thing, because I found a book page that actually had how to properly care for gooseberries and stuff. Like, what? It's a real thing? Yeah, so that's what a gooseberry actually looks like. It almost looks to me from just this image, I know it's probably not accurate, but they almost look like a peeled grape. Moving right along. Tea-dyed paper, here's the witch preparing the poison. Alright, and here is Snow White kissing Grumpy's head, and she is preparing to make him a delicious pie, which I think is so sweet. She's trying to win him over with, you know, with her cooking and baking and stuff. So sweet. Here's the deceiving witch. Go away. And Snow White, quit talking to strangers. You shouldn't talk to strangers. And then here, the witch is obviously in trouble. Here we have, again, that textured paper, scrapbooking paper. So pretty. I made a sweet little envelope out of the book page, so she can stuff some goodies in there if she wants to. Gorgeous flower. Some vintage stationery. And then again, that liner. Drawer liner, closet liner. Some beautiful blue doily. The iris page again with the beautiful border. Ignore the bug. I know. It's just there. Sorry. There's a little Dutch iris, little windmill image. Oh, this is a pocket here. Again with the doily. And then you can see a little bit of embroidery there. We flip on over to this side. I made a little pocket, and you can see some images about some flowers there in the back of irises, I think. And then it says just the two of us. Little Project Life card. This is a pocket. Again, this is the pocket from the calendar pages that I was telling you guys about earlier. It's so pretty. I didn't find the same calendar this year, so I got a farming one. It's not as pretty, but it's alright. Alright, so here we have another pocket, Rosie's Creative Wings digital kit, and then I made a little card here, a little journaling card with a tab. Obviously, you guys know that Snow White eats the apple because she's trying to make a wish, and picture all the woodland creatures gathering around for her funeral there within the forest. It's all incredibly sad. This is some book page that has music on it, and I decided to pair it with this side because it says "with tears in my eyes," and I was like, oh my gosh, that fits so perfectly with them gathering around her casket and crying, you know. But then her Prince Charming comes to save her. They're all rejoicing, they're so happy. And then here in the background, I made a huge, in the back pocket, I included this huge journaling card with her writing off with her background. And then I lined it in the back, did some stitching, and then this is some tea-dyed paper. Oh, and there's my maker's mark, BB's Closet Creations, made by yours truly with love, and lots of it. And then here, I again included a little recipe. And this is Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs cookies. Precious, absolutely precious. And again, this is Rosie's digital kit. Coming to a close now with the journal. In the back, this is another vintage doily. And you can see the amount of love and hard work that this person went through, and I just cut it up to make a pocket and include it in this gorgeous journal. And then again, it's hinged, you guys. How neat is that? And she can tuck some goodies in here. And again, that's the drawer liner. Absolutely precious. So that's it, you guys. I hope y'all enjoyed this journaling flip through as much as I enjoyed making this for MJ, and I very much hope that she loves it. Thanks for coming along. Again, thank you for co-hosting with me, Kara, and all of the wonderful princess participants that made this collaboration possible. Be sure and check out all of their channels. And that's gonna wrap it up for me, you guys. I hope y'all have a lovely rest of y'all's day. Y'all please take care, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.